Can I say
You son of a bitch, you motherfucker. Let me tell you something, Brian. Fuck you, Ed Carl.
Sorry.
Did you learn some Hebrew for this, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eres mi pera,
See,
Brian.
this is what everyone was already complaining about. Is it going to be a love fest? So I do want to say that the reason why I set this up is because Brian went on MLC Monday. They were playing it on the BS show Tuesday morning, and Shuli goes, I liked Brian on the show. I thought Brian did a great job. And I'd like to talk to the guy. So I went, oh, shit, I should probably set this up. So I reached out to both those guys. They agreed to do this. Thank you guys so much for being on this platform and doing this, your first communication with each other. And so I want to ask, starting with you, Shuli, because you were very dismissive of Bryan Johnson. You seemed to do zero research on who he was. You were just like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Fuck this guy. And I'm just curious. I know you have a lot of haters, but I'm just curious why you wouldn't have done just like the bare minimum to find out who this guy is and see if it's worth talking to.
You know, it's a great question, Carl, and
Thanks.
you bring up a great point, one that I clearly didn't see. You know, I think at that point, there's just so much shit flung at me every day from every possible direction. Thank you, Bubbly. From every possible direction. And again, I got to bring up E-Rock because he sends me this text, right? And Brian, I'm not trying to be a dick or like one up. I was not familiar with you. I was not familiar with the TV show. I'm not a comic book guy. I didn't know anything about you. I didn't know the podcast either. And out of the blue, E-Rock texts me and he goes, this guy I do my show with, Bryan Johnson, hates you. He goes, you want to come on? And I'm just like, who the fuck? Like, everybody wants me to come on to fucking scream at me. I'm like, who is Bryan Johnson? And I'm just like, what's his problem with me? And he goes, well, we can talk about it when we're on the air. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm good, man. I don't know. And I didn't know anything about you. And I just kind of assumed that you were, I don't know, part of there are tiers to this Dabbleverse, right? So I just assumed Brian was on the lower tiers of the Dabbleverse. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time with this shit. I'm not going to go on there, you know? And that was just the way I thought of it, you know?
You were right about. We didn't have many viewers.
I've researched since, my friend. You are past Melendez on that ladder. I'll tell you that, of success.
Yeah, and so
that's how I measure it too.
Who's above and who's below, right? Yeah. So I will say that E-Rock, I love E-Rock, and he's a great guy, but he did go about that the wrong way. Like, he could have explained a little bit more about why he wanted you to come on the Would You Kindly with them.
And there's zero other examples of Shuli not preparing for something, right? There's no other.
Exactly. I mean, what am I going to change now, guys?
Right.
What's the point?
All right, so
I just wanted to say two things, Carl. One was that while I respect the collective opinion of Shuli's Anonymous, it will neither govern my opinion nor.
I didn't do that.
I'm impressed with the Marshall half stack back there.
Oh,
Thank you.
From Stuttering
It's
John's.
actually a fridge.
From Stuttering John's old house.
Yeah, this is Stuttering John's old place. That's my background.
All right.
No, so I guess long story short, you know, once I started researching Brian and got over being butthurt about him not liking me, I was like, I kept seeing him pop up on different things, and I'm just like, this guy's all right. Hold on. If we can just quiet down, we can hear Kevin screaming Piazza while he's watching this right now. But I had, and I especially thought he was great on MLC on such a interesting day that he was booked on. That wasn't an easy appearance. And him and Melton were great on it.
I could do an entire episode.
It was super easy. I just sat there and watched for the first 30 minutes.
That episode of Misery Loves Company on Monday was so explosive. It started off with Kevin and Bob just screaming at each other, and it was so funny because Kevin would just be going off, spittle going everywhere, and be like, Brian, what do you think? All right, Brian, you go now.
Yeah.
It was the funniest fucking thing because everyone's just like watching like, So anyway, I was going to say they start screaming at each other again. And the best part was, not to make it about me, but I will for 1 second, is I'm listening to it with my wife in the car. We're driving back home, and it's hilarious. Kevin's all upset about that Uncle Rico show we did the night before. And I'm listening, looking over at my wife, and I go, how am I avoiding any of the shrapnel here? They're not bringing me up at all. Oh. And then immediately after I say that, KB goes into about me and just starts trashing me as hard as possible. I'm like, well, I probably shouldn't have manifested that, I suppose.
Yeah, you're a manifesting machine.
Yeah,
you got
I guess so.
John and
Jesus.
Chad are moving in. Everybody's fucking in your
God
life.
Damn it.
It's crazy.
It's fucking nuts. So, all right, let's talk about, Bryan, you've really never gotten a chance to explain to Shuli what some of your gripes are, and I want to give you an opportunity now to get that.
No, he's. I don't think he's ever heard, and I don't even know if, like, on MLC, I sent in a super chat, and I mentioned Shuli, and KB messaged me. He said, "Do you want to come on the show and talk shit about Shuli?" I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Now, I assumed that they would have Shuli on, to, like we're doing right now. Right. That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
But then when I went to look for the link, it wasn't there, and I started to watch the show and quickly found out that I guess Bob had run interference, and I wasn't going to be on. Now, I sat down to watch. I would have never said anything. I would have never done anything because I'm not really like. It depends on my level of medication right now. I'm pretty good, so I'm calm. But I would not have like ran to another outlet to bash Shuli. But then when I sat down and started watching, like Bob was saying all this shit about me and by virtue of the fact that he protected you, I'm like, Bob has shit on me and E-Rock for years now.
Yes.
They've both said some very unkind things. Just like you, Mr. Shuli, you said something very unkind and not true, I might add.
Okay.
Well, we could talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's in my notes.
Yeah.
But I want to clarify one thing real quick, that I in no way ever told Bob, do not go on this show if he's coming on, or tell Kevin not to have him on.
You didn't even know who I was, right? So
I never once got involved, but I know Kevin likes to say that I instructed Bob to put up a fight or whatever. I just think Bob was just, like you said, protecting a friend, you know?
Yeah, and I completely understood it. It was only after he started coming at me that I was like, fuck this fucking crypt keeper. And so I that's why I went on Chad. And when we had a little back and forth. But honestly, like after that, I'm being completely transparent here, so people can call me a piazza if they want. But I'm like, well, that was empty. Like I didn't feel better. I felt like I don't think I'm cut out for this part of it. I think I'm cut out to watch and text Carl and say, have you seen this shit? And did you see Stuttering John on MLC? He was, that's my name, Dopestradamus, according to Stuttering John. I'm sure he made that up.
It's a good one.
That he was accusing somebody of sending that video of him in bed to
yes, that was very confusing.
He was saying Adam sent it. So I sent Adam an email and I said, tell John that I hacked his phone, and that's how I got the video. I saw him in a coffee shop because I have a couple photos of him in a coffee shop that somebody sent. E-Rock sent me.
I have that too.
So I sent them in to sort of like further prove that I saw him, and I said, tell him I jacked all his videos and photos.
That's hilarious.
When in reality, I saw it on Reddit, like everyone else.
It's posted on Reddit by someone who's in his Patreon, right?
Yeah, he's the most, like, I have bouts of paranoia, like my wife will attest to that, but like this dude is paranoid 24/7, but at the same time, never fucking sees it coming.
I know. How is that possible?
Yeah. Just because you're
paranoid, on fucking high alert.
Yeah.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you, though.
Correct. I mean, if anyone should be paranoid, it's Stuttering John Melendez. Right. For sure.
And especially like I was saying, you know, like I sort of stepped back and I'm like, I'm not going to continue. Like there were people online that were like, "Bro, I do a Shuli show." I'm like, that is not me. I'm not that guy.
Same on my end. And,
do a Bry show.
It just pushes you, talk more shit about this guy, sending me shit. And it's like, it puts you in a position where, you start doing it. And like you said, you're just like, well, where do I go from here? Like, this isn't even what I do. This isn't even how I am in real
KB
life.
is like, that's KB's brand. So I totally get why he does that. And he does it very well. Like he's great at it. Although I did disagree with him the other day on something that when you guys set up the troll for John.
Yeah.
Which I was like, this is fucking awesome. And I remember watching Chad in real time, and I said to my wife about 50 minutes in, I said, Chad's trolling John. I was like, I don't know what the end is here, but he's trolling him. And then KB said that like it had nothing to do with Chad, and Chad sucks, and Chad's human garbage, and all this other shit. But I'm like, look, just because Shuli and Bob were the architects doesn't mean you discount the guy with the hammer that fucking put the building up. You know, I agree.
That was one of the things John asked me when I was talking to him on the phone. One of the things he asked me, he goes, "No, did you know that Chad was trolling me?" I go, "Yeah." It was pretty obvious. I go even before Shuli told me what was going on behind the scenes, it was very obvious that you were getting trolled, John. You really should have definitely recognized that.
Yeah, but like I never would have guessed that it was Shuli and Bob behind it, because less than 24 hours earlier, Chad's talking about Gina, and Chad's putting Shuli's wife up online, and all and all this other stuff. So it's just like I'm having a very difficult time figuring out alliances and all that shit, because I'm like, wait a second. So Carl hates Chad. Chad's a piece of shit, but wait, now he's on Chad's show, and then KB's on Chad's show, even though he's yelling at Bob for being on a show with Chad. I'm like, I can't figure this shit out.
Nothing's ever been more professional wrestling than this whole Dabbleverse.
This is the thing, though, and people like to say that, it's phony because apparently Chad and Shuli and Bob made up behind the scenes, and then Chad and Bob had that fight on MLC that I guess was staged or whatever people want to say about it. But as I've said all along, none of us want to fight each other. That's never been the goal here. This is a roast. We're joking. These are jokes. It's comedy.
People with a sense of humor know how to navigate this. That's why Stuttering John can't.
Right. And the people who get upset about it are the same people who see, the NWO is having dinner with a baby face after the show. They're like, what? Wow, how is this possible?
Not only that, Carl, but they're the same people in all the other shows, chat rooms, donating money and telling those people they're great and fuck the other person. And it's like, but we're the phonies.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah. Bob's fly baby is real, but I'm the phony. Okay, fine.
All right, but what is real is that Bryan definitely hates Shuli. So let's get into that.
Let's go.
All right, what's your issue with Shuli, Bryan?
I had a couple. You know what? I'll say this too. Shuli, I owe you an apology, because I was convinced that it was you that drove John off the internet, and I resented you for it because I wanted him to be this evergreen lolcow that we could always turn to. And then John, he is a liar, but he said that you had nothing to do with him leaving the internet. So who am I to argue that? So for that, I was wrong, and I held that against you. But some of this stuff it's just, again, like, I'm just a listener. I do a podcast, sure, but like, I'm just a listener. My opinion, it has no more weight than fucking Fly Baby.
Time out, Bryan. You're not just a listener. You do have a podcast. You've been in show business. Yeah. You come on our show quite often. I consider you one of the co-hosts, the rotating co-hosts on Who Are These Podcasts. But go ahead, as you were saying.
All right, so I'm a pretty big wheel down at the Cracker Factory.
Correct.
So this is one man's opinion, and again, I'm going to temper it by saying that, like, along the way when we're doing our podcast, I didn't know certain things about myself. I won't go to our Reddit thread. No fucking way. People are too mean to me. They're really mean to me. Like, everybody hates us, but. Wait, I totally lost my fucking train of thought.
Oh, here we go.
But anyway, okay, so here are my main issues where I think you might be able to learn. Okay, issue number 1. In your promo stuff, stop acting like a badass. We're all fucking in our 50s or late 40s, like you're just out of prison poses. They're so grating, dude.
Yo, dog, I liked you up until now. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm
telling you, these are little things. These are little things, but I'm like, what's with this fucking
It's
guy?
all I got, Bryan. It's all I got.
No, you don't got it. You're not a badass.
I mean, in my mind, I know that. I can't fix anything around the house. I pay people to mow lawns. I know I'm not a man. Let me pretend, Bryan, please.
But look, I'm on the exact same page as you. The other day, my big job for the day that my wife gave me was go around to all the patio furniture and tear the tags off the cushions. That was it. That was my manly job for the day.
Oh, man. That's
so I feel you.
That's
I totally feel you.
Chore. That's a Ray DeVito chore.
Oh, Carl, what the fuck, man? I know you're a young guy, so when you reach my age, you're going to be like, wow, there's a lot of time I shouldn't have wasted. An hour and a half with Ray DeVito is going to be one of those things you look back on.
Brian, did you see me with Ray DeVito
like,
yesterday?
Holy shit!
Did you? How frustrating was that? I go on there and I'm explaining to him how to run a good show. I was giving him direction I've never given anyone. I was showing him my notes, my process. He wasn't listening to anything I had to say. At the end of all of it, he goes, "So I should write down 3 bullet points before the show starts?" I'm like, fine.
Can I start with 1 bullet point?
Yeah, I'm like, fine, all right.
And then in the middle, it's like, Carl, what's better, Wrigley Field or Shea Stadium, do you think?
God.
And I think Drunk on Cringe put together like an 18-minute compilation, and it's fucking. I got through 3 minutes of it. I was laughing so goddamn hard. It's phenomenal.
I haven't watched it yet, but I hopefully grabbed the good parts where I'm screaming at Ray to stop. Get on fucking focus on the conversation, Ray. Anyway, see, look at us. Now we're getting off the conversation here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You were saying, Brian. I saw.
Okay, so I would, and I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this. I would shed the badass image, and I don't think it's just you. I think everybody needs to shed the badass image with the fucking 50, 60-year-old guys being like, "We're gonna fight." It's like nobody's gonna fucking fight. John is living in the fucking 90s. He sounds fundamentally retarded, and like we're all like the last, like he got a payday on the cabbie fight, so he's like, well, how can I make that same payday again? I know, I'll fight these 3 guys. And I really wanted you guys to do it because there's no possible way that fat piece of shit. That's right, John. I'm talking to you. You called me fucking Dopestradamus earlier today. I heard you. It stung. I won't lie. It stung.
Still reeling from that one, I could tell.
And it's funny because I remember like 2 months ago, I was running to a gate to catch a flight, and like I hadn't ran like that in years. Like, and I'm so out of shape, and I felt like I was gonna fucking drop dead at the gate. And he's talking about I'll fight. He kept adding people to the fight card. I'll fight the Rico. I'll fight WATP. I'll fight Kevin, Adam, everybody.
You're so right, though, Brian, because, and I pointed this out too, John, because I've read his book, John made so much money on that cabbie fight because he got a sponsorship deal. He had action on the fight. He won bets. So he's looking at this as this big payday, and he's got all these different angles he's going to make money on it. When I went on his show today, I said, John, let's just do a roast. We can sell out a theater. Let's just do the roast of Stuttering John, or it could be the roast of Stuttering John and Shuli. There's going to be people there who are on John's side on that one. I don't know why he won't do that. It'd be so much better.
Yeah, it's just like we're all middle-aged, straight white guys. People fucking don't like us already.
Right.
We don't need to add cringe into it. Like my wife watches everything with me, and she sits there. She's like, "Oh my god, this is crazy. Like these are grown men," and I'm like, "I know."
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I don't know what to make of it. The fight and stuff.
You're anti-white on white crime.
Well, Brian, you say that we're straight men, but let's not forget Shuey's also Jewish. So
thank you.
No, that's true. And you have wood paneling. So I don't know what I'm dealing with here.
I have a bit effeminate the way I drink my beer. Yeah. So that's a good point too. I forgot.
That's the kind of shit that drives me fucking crazy about John, and that he's not like he won't answer it in the fucking beginning, or like he won't just answer these charges, you know.
Right.
Even today with Bob, like Bob was asking, like either Bob or him asked a legitimate question. Oh, it was KB who said, look Bob in the eye and say he's not a funny stand-up comic. He said, tell me Bob's not a funny, because you say what you will about KB. The guy knows his fucking stand-up. He's great at stand-up. And Bob is a fucking beast on stage. He's a beast. There's a reason why Kevin goes on before him, okay? Because Bob destroys. And there's no way in hell that John is being honest when he can sit there and go, Bob sucks as a comic. And immediately, instead of explaining why he feels that way, which was the follow-up question, he just starts yelling and starts singing and screaming. And it's like, people want me to have a debate with, how are you supposed to have a debate with somebody like that? You know, it's just going to be him screaming like an idiot.
So sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
When you guys had your back and forth, and you know, of course, I run right to Dabblers Anonymous and Shuli's Anonymous to see what people thinking and how it's weighing. And I didn't, on Shuli's Anonymous, John destroyed, or on Dabblers Anonymous, Shuli destroyed. But my feeling was, and again, you can confirm or disconfirm this. I'm like, it looks to me like Shuli's toying with him. Like because you didn't go in there hardcore. And there was a moment where, again, I'm sorry, fucking Shuli's anonymous, but I'm going to be honest about all this shit, where you did make me laugh, where like he's naming all those fucking comedy clubs and he's like, did you do this one? Did you do that one? And you're like, nah, but keep going. We'll hit one.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit. Like I find it amusing and dismissive of John, which you should be, because
I just know
the guy has a serious personality disorder. Like there's no doubt about it. Like to be that angry and that passionate about something that is subjective.
Should we send him a link?
Like, I was better than you on Stern.
Let's get him out here.
Let's get him on. Oh my God, that would be a dream.
I just want to say, producer Chris here, Shuli, I just want to say the thing I loved about that interaction was how enraged you calling him pal and buddy made him.
That was funny.
It's the second he shows, the you're in, and coming from you, first of all, producer Chris, who has the batting average, the greatest snipe batting average of all time on podcast. You're a genius. But yeah, it was listen, what am I going to do? Yell at the guy? I don't really even hate the guy. Right. I don't know why. He was saying today that we started it, not him. That was a big thing on the show today. I didn't start this, guys. They started it with the Uncle Rico show. Carl, you know how long he's been doing his podcast. Yep. How long? I was working for Stern when this guy would shit on me on a regular basis, and we had no interaction whatsoever. And Uncle Rico came long after that.
Shuli, what's crazy about this is that was the whole basis of this conversation we were having about threatening violence. Because John's going there and he's calling the police and the FBI because of this tweet that Chad put out. And then Shuli sends me a screen grab of John going on Chad's show the day before that and threatening Chad. And then John's like, I don't know if that was me. I'm not sure. It looks like you. And maybe it was. He's like, I don't know.
And you gave Shuli every... I'm sorry. Go ahead, Shuli.
No, go ahead, Andy.
I was going to say, Carl gave you every opportunity to shit on John, and you took the high road multiple times.
Yes.
Before John.
That is true.
He just.
But who cares?
He pushed you and pushed you.
This whole thing, like
you started the fucking show.
They started it. No, they just did it better. That's the thing. That's what it all comes down to. Because if John was trashing Shuli every week, and it wouldn't matter who started it, because he'd be winning.
Right. And as far as going on Chad's show with him, like I know. Say what you will about who chased him off. I know I'm one of the reasons he's back, and that goes without saying. I'm in his head, and I know the second I show up, he's going to lose his shit. And so I'm not going to join him in that. I'm just going to be relaxed and see what openings he gives. And it was a blast because I am a fan of John like all of us are.
Yes.
I want John at maximum level. So I will do whatever it takes to get Max John.
I agree.
Do you think he's there, or can he go bigger?
He's close to there, because I have to say, Brian, I was with you when John left the internet, when he took his ball and went home. That was a bummer, and we had to transition out of that and figure out, because that was a big part of our show, a big segment every single week. And so we got by, and it's fine, and things are going great. But John coming back, I'm actually glad he left for 8 months. Because he has brought more energy, he has brought more excitement into the Dabbleverse than if he was been here doing this the whole time. We'd be bored of it.
Yeah.
But the fact that he went away and then came back the way that he's come back, it's been incredible. I couldn't have predicted this in a million years. I'm so excited the way this all came back. So anyone who was mad at Shuli for running John off the internet, if that is true, you got to say that it all worked out well at the end. What ends well, or whatever the saying is there. You know what I mean?
Now you sound like John.
Yeah, you totally sound like
Jesus Christ. All right, so
you're becoming him.
I am. I talked to him twice in the last 2 days. All right, so this is what I have to
talk too much.
Thank you. Sorry. So, Brian, I know that Shuli, when he was going after you, and maybe it was like a drinking show or something, he brought up some type of allegation, and I do want to address that. Something that Kevin Smith had said, or what was that?
Right, yeah, a clip of Kevin Smith on a podcast, which also flies in the face, Shuli, of never personal. I think we may have gotten to the one part where, because I'm like, hey, Shuli stinks. I don't like Shuli. And you're like, you're a child rapist.
Yeah. No,
not the case. Not the fucking case. Because if you listen to that clip, it's like he immediately says in the beginning that nothing happened.
And you're 100% right about crossing that line and making something personal, because again, there's shit people send me about John on the, daily, like personal shit that, and I would never do that. And he's said 10 times worse things about me, my family, than you have ever said. And it was I'm not blaming it, but it was 100% a drinking show. And, I'm an herbalist. I don't do well on liquor. And it was, I even talked to producer Joe after it, and I was like, I think we should take this out. And I just felt like an asshole for doing it. Regardless of, because I know it's just that clip, it for sure, there's a good chance that it's taken out of context or whatever, and I did do it. No, I did. I'm owning up to it, but
Well, I didn't know if they were talking to me or you.
Yeah, good point.
That's true. That could have been for you. Sorry.
Hypocrite
I don't apologize.
police!
No, but you're 100% right. That's not how I do things. That's not who I am, and I owe you an apology, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, I accept it. Yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
it's out there. I don't know what he was thinking or why he would say something that could be construed as such. But
Well, the punishment didn't fit the crime anyways. Like it was like jumping fucking 10 levels. Like
that's one of those moments where I think I texted Carl and I was like, he's just like fucking John. He went nuke immediately.
I went John on you. I did. You're right. And truth be told, there isn't a ton of shit out there on you, believe it or not.
Oh my God. I talk a ton. I've been talking for 13 years. You should have been like, you're a drug addict or you were a drug addict. Your kid has Down syndrome. Ew.
That was the next drinking show. We had a whole character planned.
I don't know if KB and company are still sniping this or not, but I want to play you guys just a couple of clips because when John did his first Hypocrisy Police podcast, he then went on MLC after that. And it was Kevin solo because I think Bob Levy had a gig that night. So it's Kevin solo and then he brings on John. And this is glorious. The way that John comes on the show, he couldn't have fucked this up more. It's so embarrassing. And only Stuttering John could do this in the manner that he did this in.
Yeah, I checked my email. He already emailed me.
Oh, here we go.
He was very proactive. Here we go.
Oh, no, because I thought he gave you the wrong email.
No.
All right. This is fantastic right here.
Oh, no, because I thought he gave you the wrong email.
No. You gotta turn your...
Hey.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no, because I thought he gave you the wrong email. No. You got to turn your phone
John,
off.
I think you're listening to the show.
Hey.
Oh, no, because I thought he gave you the wrong email. You got to turn your phone
John,
off.
I think you're listening to the show.
Oh, that's
Jesus Christ.
No, because I thought he gave you the wrong email. You got to turn your phone
John,
off.
I think you're listening to the show. I'm freaking out, man.
I'm tripping my nuts off over here.
John,
Yeah.
your speaker is playing the show. In the
Oh,
background.
hold on a second. Sorry.
Oh.
John.
Yes, I got it.
That's the recording. That was the loop. You got it?
All right. How are you?
Good recovery.
Amazing. This is what's been missing.
Yes.
The rage and the fire is all there, but the technical difficulties were always the best.
Yeah.
And so now that's back.
I know.
Oh,
So fantastic.
It's like the number one earliest rule you learn in radio. And he's like, huh? What? Huh?
Also, I don't know about you, Shuli, but I've done that before where I had a tab open and
Sure.
because I had the link and I was promoting the link and I still have the link open and then all of a sudden I start the show and now I'm hearing it back. I panic like a mother. I'm like, I start closing everything I can. Just they're just like, what's going on? I don't know.
this is everybody's fault except mine.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
And we'll figure it out. It's like, no, Chad, we keep telling you. It's out of your end. All right. So this is funny because now they're talking about me, and John starts by saying, hey, Kevin, did you hear my take about Carl? He's like all proud of himself. Because John looks up to Kevin, as we all know. And so he wants to get Kevin's approval here.
Hey, Kev, though, did you hear my take on Carl?
Yeah, I agreed with you. I said Carl was dumb. I even what Chad said was stupid because
Chad said that you should, Carl said he was going on Uncle Rico that day to promote, he was doing it to promote you and whatever. But I said what he should have done if he was going to go on, when he went on the show that day, was say, well, I don't want to shit on John because we might do a show together. And that would have been a great way to promote the show you're going to do together. But what I really said is he'll never stand up to Cumia. And if he said to Cumia that he's going to do a show with you, Cumia would be like, are you out of your fucking mind? And that's why, in my opinion, he was never going to do a show with you. Once I saw he was getting cold feet, I knew it had something with Cumia. Cumia doesn't even know. But once if Carl said, I'm doing a show with John, Cumia would be like, are you out of your fucking mind? And Carl wouldn't be able to handle that.
No,
I did not get cold feet. It was not me who breached this agreement that John and I had to do a show together on my channel. So I don't know what John told KB. He's obviously misinformed on this, but that's nonsense. Let me play the rest of this clip, and then I'll explain why Kevin is retarded on this. This is the worst take. I like KB, but this is dumb.
Kevin, I already I went over that with Carl on the phone. He was like, I don't care. Don't worry about it. I go, yeah, but all these guys are going to hate on you for doing a show with me. He goes, I don't care. Don't worry about it. He's
worried about Cumia. He worships Cumia, and if Cumia didn't approve, he would panic.
All right. That is so dumb. And Kevin knows that because Kevin's worked with Anthony more so than I have. So he knows better than I do that Ant doesn't give a fuck about what anyone does. Anthony is the last guy to give a shit about what anyone is up to at any time. He's doing his own thing. He's happy. He's fine with it. I can't even imagine a scenario where Anthony would be like, Carl, I can't have you on the Anthony Cumia show anymore. You did that thing with Stuttering John. I told you not to. I told you not to. What the fuck?
Yeah, nice try, Cumia cuck. Why don't you get Anthony's dick out of your mouth, bro?
That was such a weird thing. That was like a Stuttering John level take that KB had. It's like, well, Carl just needs Anthony's approval. No, I don't. I don't talk to Anthony very often at all. We have our own thing going on over here. I'm not on Compound Media. I never have been. What the fuck are you talking about?
I need E-Rock's approval for everything.
Well, that's different. That is different.
Is that just for lunch or dinner too? Yeah. All right, enough. No more fat jokes, guys.
I thought that was really stupid. All right, so here's more of John on me and the Z-Man.
I don't care. Look, Carl, I think he's a nice guy, but he fucking, he had to, he decided the same day, and I called you, the same day that he and I had this great conversation. What does he do? Goes on the show and starts trashing me. Fuck him.
Yeah, that's odd behavior. No, that makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. It's like, first of all, he could have just told him, I can't do the show today. I got plans or something.
And that's the problem. Just don't be disingenuous.
You just did a show with Chad, who said he was getting all these Venmos.
Yeah.
Speaking of disingenuousness, I mean, he's the fucking king of that. Hey, Chad's lawyers. He said, and that's where it started. The whole thing started. Chad said he was going to sue me for defamation. So whenever I said something about Chad, I go, hi, Chad. Hi, Chad's lawyers. It all started with that. He literally said, he sent me an email, said, he's going to sue me for defamation. I was like, all right, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that to go to trial. Fucking hack.
So Kevin has this thought that because I continue to goof on John, I ruin an opportunity to do a show with John. What he's not understanding, and I've said this on John's show today, no one's tuning in for the John and Carl are friends show.
Right.
The fuck's the point of that? What am I just gonna spitball with John? We'll riff for a minute or two. I told John,
Carl, I know you're friends with him, but don't you think I'm funnier than Shuli?
Because that's the whole point of us doing a show, and John agreed to doing it again today. We'll see what happens. But I'm hoping that John and I can have round two, pick up from where we left off on Misery Loves Company, because I have a lot of things to talk to him about. I haven't even addressed the fact that he tried to ruin my life. He reached out to Patreon and tried to get my Patreon taken down, which is my main source of income, which is an act of violence. I have not even brought that up to John yet. I can't wait to. So I'm not going to go on there and be like, hey, we're buddies and we're fucking hanging out. It's K and SJ. What's up?
I think what Brennan just did with the Cumia thing, it's like it lends to this air of muddiness with everything, because you're never sure, especially with and I enjoy Chad. I actually like Chad quite a bit. I find him entertaining.
You've said that a number of times. I'm starting to believe you.
I do. I'm not kidding around. I like young Chadwick. But oh fuck, I lost my place again. I'm also an herbalist, Shuli, so my memory isn't what it used to be.
Well, no, you were talking about how muddy it is and how.
Oh yeah.
He was talking about me with Anthony.
Yeah, so it makes it that much more difficult because people are just saying whatever they want, and I guess everyone just accepts it as fact,
Right.
And I thought until Chad and John, were at odds, I was like, I would love to see a Chad and John show.
Yes.
Because you're talking about two pathological liars saying anything they want about anybody they want, going unchecked and uncontested. Like, that's a show I want to see, just so they can say whatever the fuck they feel like. And eventually they get shut down.
Be great, but like, we never landed on the moon, and then Chad's like, "We're on the moon right now. What do you think of that?" And shit, they're just bullshitting each other, one-upping the whole time.
That was you brought it up. That was one of the things with Ray DeVito. He's like, "You think we landed on the moon?" I'm like, "Holy shit, man! This guy has like he has bullet points of all the boring shit that's been talked about a million times already."
Well, the reason why he brought that up is he had Alex Stein on his show, and Alex Stein blew his mind by saying he didn't think that we landed on the moon. And Ray DeVito's so naive, he's just like, "That's not what I heard."
At one point, he was just screaming, "That's what I was told."
Yeah.
He lost it. He
so
broke
stupid.
him. It was great.
Well, and then I broke Ray because we were talking about how Chad used to call Chrissy and Frank the Clintons of comedy. And Ray's like, "What's wrong with that? The Clintons, they were, it was a president. He was great." I'm like, "No, the Clintons are fucking terrible people." And I explained it to him. And he's like, "Oh, I mean, he was a president, though. How could you say that, Carl?" Like, this is pretty common. Anyway, here's one more clip that I have from this show. And this is great because Kevin's talking about how he would like to watch the show that John and I do together. And he compares it to a show called The Odd Couple. Might be familiar with it. This gets John way sidetracked, because he takes it way too literally.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he gets very confused about this analogy. That
Starts
Kevin
singing the song.
Yeah,
God.
So stupid.
I mean, like you said, it was very fucking, it was dumb for him to do it, because you guys could have done one show a week and make a lot of money in Super Chats. It's the fucking classic Odd Couple. You're Oscar, he's fucking Felix. You both got dumped by your wives, and now you're doing a show once a week. And it would have been fucking, I would have watched. I don't watch anything, but I would have watched that show.
What, me and Carl or me and Chad?
No, you and Carl, The Odd Couple.
Carl got dumped by his wife?
No, I'm joking, but that was The Odd Couple.
He still doesn't get it. Watch.
I didn't even get dumped.
No, I know. I'm kidding, but that's the premise of The Odd Couple. They both got dumped by their wives because they're both fucking difficult. Carl's Felix. He probably has a very tidy apartment. You know what you say about him. And plus, you have that running gag where you say he's effeminate because the way he drinks, and then.
All right. So,
Can you imagine if Columbo guest starred one day?
Yeah. It's not The Odd Couple. My name's not Felix. My name's John. I keep telling you that, KB.
Is the apartment we live in pet friendly?
That was actually my original point earlier. What was his inability to just argue a point and make sense of it. Like, he'll just say shit.
Yeah.
Like his daughter, it's like the food insecurity thing, the homelessness. It's like he tries in the moment to rewrite what we're all seeing. He wants to revise history in the moment. And it's like, dude, no, your daughter said that she suffered from food insecurity. And like we were talking, Carl, you're like, no, it's a food desert. Like so just because John's dumb and doesn't understand what food insecurity is, doesn't mean that she should be saying it. And the fucking whoever wrote the article shouldn't be saying it, unless she said she suffered from food insecurity, which she probably did.
She says she faced homelessness. And I go, anyone who has parents who love them shouldn't be facing homelessness. She's like, yeah, but she didn't want to commute that far. Like, that's how homelessness works, John. What are you talking about? But she wanted to live with near friends. And there weren't a lot of apartments available. Okay.
That's his MO. Is he's like, he keeps throwing out the same stats over and over again. He keeps bringing up the same stories over and over again. Take it from a guy who does no research. This guy's doing no research. Okay.
When he was talking about, and he said that he's been searched 7 million times. He goes, I got to give Carl credit. He decided to goof on my podcast because he knows how popular I am. Yeah. I've been Googled 7 million times. Anthony Cumia, 5 times. Even KB's like, what? How's that even fucking possible? Even people who hate Anthony Cumia, there'd be more than 5 searches on his name. And John's like, nope, I got the screenshots. I can prove it. So he sent those to me. And whatever company, whatever website it was, doesn't even exist anymore. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is real, John. I'll just throw it out there.
And yet, they go on his show even after he uses the J word in a derogatory fashion, and yet they still go on the show. Army Major, now let me ask you, what's your ethnicity?
What's my what?
Ethnicity. Are you Irish? I don't know.
Hispanic.
The guy's last name is Ojeda, and he goes, are you Irish? That's the part everyone overlooks because he says epithecity, and then he gets it even worse the second time. Epithecity. Duh.
I love that he's policing.
Yeah.
He's policing everything, and now he's policing my Judaism. He's going, how can you, as someone born in Israel, go on a racist show that you were on 9 times, according to your numbers, John?
I didn't know back then. I didn't know.
It was a different time.
He even said, he goes, I didn't know what a pedophile Anthony Cumia was back when I went on his show. I'm like, I mean, how much of a pedophile is he? You either are or you aren't, right? It's like a goat fucker. I didn't know he was that big of a goat fucker.
We could all agree if Anthony offered him a contract with a nice payment, he's there.
Oh, he thought he had one. He was bragging to everyone, including Artie Lang, who actually got that gig. And I misspoke. Artie's deal was $450 a year, was what Artie made to be the co-host of the Artie and Anthony show, with the stipulation that he show up. So I don't know if he made that money. I'm not sure if he made that money.
That's tricky. You got to read the fine print in those contracts.
That is tricky.
John wants to appear so woke all the time, like he's like the J word, which is the first time I've ever heard somebody say that.
What's the J word? Jew?
I don't know.
Can I say that on YouTube? Shuli is a Jew. Can I say that? Is that all right?
No, change it to Shulies. That's what most anti-Semites do. Go ahead.
But yeah, like he'll on one hand he'll be like the J word, on the other hand he's like, you're effeminate. And another example of him being like, why are you calling Carl gay? Oh, I'm not saying he's gay. It's like, dude, you know what you're saying. You know what guys our age, like when they say you're effeminate, you know what they're fucking saying. Stop playing. Maybe he's not playing dumb. Stop fucking acting. Maybe he's not acting. I don't know. But he's an asshole. He's an asshole.
Brian, let's not forget how that whole thing started. He's like, you don't have any kids. Maybe it's because, and very much implying that I was gay. Very much. In fact, I think we even had the conversation. I go, John, gay people have kids. You know that, right? It's like, that's not a proof for anything. All right.
Where did they come out of their butthole?
I had kids this morning. All right. This is one more clip that I have here. This is KB. So, as we talked about, John was going to go on Kevin Brennan's YouTube channel and do a show with Adam, and then that didn't happen. But John went on his own channel and was able to get super chats, able to monetize his show again. Good on him. That's great. But this is Kevin Brennan explaining that he's out of the Stuttering John business because they were both, you just saw us playing clips. They're on each other's shows. They're praising each other. Well, I shouldn't say each other. John is very complimentary about Kevin Brennan. Not anymore. Because this happened.
I spoke to him on. This is so exhausting. I spoke to him on Saturday. And he'll say whatever. I spoke to him on Saturday. After the Friday show, and I just said you should do a show with super chats or whatever. So then he was going to do it on our network. So I didn't get a chance to talk to Adam until Sunday.
You said network.
So I talked to Adam until Sunday. So, but John's tweeting, I'm going to do the show on MLC tomorrow, and so I talked to Adam. Adam said he can't do it, So to John, it's just whatever. It's fucking.
So John tweeted that he was doing a show on your channel.
No, before that, then I told him Adam's not available tomorrow at 1:00 at all. So
John decides he's going to do a show at 1:00 on their channel, but he needs Adam to run it. Adam's a very busy guy. He does a lot of things. So I was like, well, no, I just can't make it.
Adam will see the tweet. I know.
This is so funny is that John's doesn't get confirmation, is putting the cart before the horse, is just going, everybody check me out. He's putting out these videos from his bed. He's doing all this stuff. And then he's mad at Adam after all of this, which is great.
He's like, but then he said, I got annoyed because, first of all, he said that, and the thing that really annoyed me was, he's like, well, just tell me the terms, how much you want of the super chats. And I was like, all right, well, let me think about it. Let me talk to Adam. And then he goes, because that's what friends do for each other. I'm like, we're not friends. Like, I'm not friends with any of you fucking losers. Like, you're all fucking losers. Like, I have to exist. It's like being in an orphanage. It's like I have to exist in this world, but you're all losers. But he's saying, like, we're friends. So the fact that, even if John thought we were friends, that means nothing to me. So then yesterday he calls me and I go, we can't do Monday. And then he wants to use my channel. And I'm like already nervous about him using my channel. And then I said, well, he goes, why don't you have me on tomorrow on your show? I go, we already got 2 guests. I don't want to bump them. And I'm like, Brian, we've been waiting months to get Brian on. And then he goes, well, how about Wednesday? No, I say, how about Wednesday? And he goes, well, you're going to have to give me a cut of your super chats. I was like,
my God.
Motherfucker, I gave you $3,000 and you want to use my channel? You want to use my channel to get money, but if you do my show, I got to give you a percentage of the super chats. It's like, dude, and then I'm watching Kumia and everybody last night, everyone's like, Stuttering John, like everything's a one-way street with him. He's always like, just worried about what he can get out of you and give nothing back. And I was like, that's what he's doing to me. I already gave $3,000. That's a fact, $3,000. And now he wants to use my channel to get super chats. And if he can't use his channel and I have him as a guest, he wants more super chats. And I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding? And then when I saw he got trolled by Tony Mazer and Chad I was like, yeah, I'm out of that business. Because
he thinks he's like a big celebrity.
No, I'm gonna look like a fucking. I mean, I got nothing to gain. Like if he's a guest, I got to give him super chats. But then if he did use my channel, he'd be like, whatever I offered him, he'd be like, that's too much. I can't give you that much. I can't get. So it's like, fuck this. It's like, I'm already killing it, Brian Regan. I'm already killing it. I don't need Stuttering John, just like I don't need Opie. Hello, 2004.
Is this a roundabout way of
losers?
Is this a roundabout way of telling me I'm not getting any super chats?
Right. So the reference that he made there, and I'm sorry we didn't get to our Opie segment today. There's too much going on. But the reference that he made there is that Opie said on his stream, he goes, Kevin keeps sending me the link. You don't send me the link. I send you the link, is what Opie said to Kevin Brennan indirectly, but kind of directly on his show. And that's why Kevin was like, this isn't 2004 anymore. Like, Opie, I don't know who you think you are. You're not a part of this at all. You're an ancillary character. You had Chad Zumak on your show, and Cardiff's great on there. Don't get me wrong. I like Dookie. But no one cares about what Opie's talking. No one's going on their shows going, you won't believe the bombshell dropped on Opie's stream today. Holy shit, this is nuts. We got to watch this. I'm the only one keeping Opie alive, for Christ's sake. I don't see him on BS show.
Who are these podcasts? WA